எப்போ ஷேர் பண்ணோம் அது மாத்திரம் சொல்லுங்க. when I should share my screen.
Sure, sir. Good evening to everyone. Rajapalayam Rajus College Nature Club and Lions Club of Rajapalayam is jointly organized and celebrates World Lion Day. It's a pleasant time for me to give a welcome address. First of all, I welcome PMGF Lions KG Prakash sir, PMCC, and MJF Lion PV Suryanarayan sir, and also President of Lions Club of Rajapalayam, Lions S. Ramki Balaji, and the Secretary, Lion N. Pothirajan sir, and the Treasurer of Lions Club, Lion K. Sankar Narayan sir, and our College Secretary, KG Prakash sir, and our President, K.R. Dharmakrishna Raja sir, and Dr. C. Ramakrishnan, Principal of Rajapalayam Rajus College, and the members of Nature Club, one and all here. Thank you. I like to invite Dr. C. Ramakrishnan sir to give an inaugural address.
Nice to meet you all. Once again, I welcome today's chief guest, Dr. Rajapalayam sir. I begin my speech with thanking our college president, college secretary, and the Lions Club president, secretary, and members, Nature Club coordinator, and all participants who take part in this event. Rajapalayam Rajus College is known for many activities. One among them is Nature Club activity. Concerning the nature, today it is celebrating World Lion Day. Because every year, just we are celebrating all wild animals day, not only wild animals, even insects and everything we are celebrating. Today we have chosen Lion Day because it's a very important and the most liked by many people. Simply we say that the king of the forest for its quality. Normally, lion means leadership and inspiration and ownership and noble. For this character, we like animal. And this is the role model for many people. Maximum behind they have the lion, and when they feel very proud when they walk like a lion, like that. Today we are celebrating why lion is given too much importance with all animals. Because when wild animals are saved, automatically the forest will be saved, the nature will be saved. For that reason only. So it is a role model for many animals also. In this occasion, we are celebrating the Lions Day, and we have invited Dr. Rajapalayam as our chief guest, and all we are waiting to listen the many interesting stories and many interesting incidents regarding the lion. Once again, I welcome our chief guest, and I thank our institution, management, and Nature Club for organizing this event. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inaugural address. And I like to invite Lion S. Ramki Balaji, President, Lions Club of Rajapalayam, to facilitate.
Mute. உங்க mic unmute.
Ramki Balaji.
Sorry. Good morning, everyone. It is my great pleasure and honor to appreciate our respected chief guest, Dr. Rajapalayam sir, wildlife biologist and conservation scientist, CEO of Metasting Foundation and professor at TDU. Sir, we are honored to have you with us today. Your valuable contribution to wildlife conservation and your dedicated towards protecting Asiatic lions are truly inspiring. To behalf of our Lions Club of Rajapalayam, I extend my heartfelt wishes and gratitude to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lions Yes Ramki Balaji, sir. It's the time to give an intro of our chief guest. So I invite Ms. Amurda Sanjana, student president of Nature Club, to give an intro of our chief guest today.
Good evening, everyone. Ravichalayam sir is a wildlife biologist and conservation scientist based in Bengaluru. Since the early 1980s, he is involved with his research, education, conservation, outreach, advocacy, and public engagement related to Indian wildlife and biodiversity. In his career, he has worked with several institutions, including the Wildlife Institute of India, United Nations Development Programme, Ashoka Trust for Research in Ecology and the Environment, Wildlife Conservation Society, India Program, Madras Crocodile Bank Trust, Foundation for Ecological Security, and Greenpeace India, many of these in leadership positions. He studied the Asiatic lions in Gir Forest for his PhD, and he has been involved in research conservation of lions since 1985. He is a strong advocate for implementing the Supreme Court's order dated 15 April 2013 for translocating lions to establish a second free-ranging population of wild lions in Kuno National Park. He served as an expert scientific advisor to the Forest Bench of the Supreme Court of India in 2012. Since 2013, he serves on the expert committee appointed by the Supreme Court to guide and monitor the translocation of lions. For about a decade, he was the researcher of coordinator of WII. He was involved in setting up the Indian Biodiversity Portal and the Health Heat Map of India. He has played governance roles with several NGOs and he has served as a vice president of BNHS. He has published extensively both academically as well as for the public, works closely with the government on policy matters, served on a few government committees, and is engaged in policy related work in India, which includes serving on the Ministry of Environment and Forest and Ministry of Tribal Affairs Joint Committee to review the implementation of the Forest Rights Act. For about a decade, he was involved with Student Conference on Conservation Science, Bengaluru. He has given several 450 academic and public talks. He is currently CEO of Metastring Foundation, member of the Coexistence Consortium, part of the leadership team for the Coexistence Champions Program, president of Fields of View, coordinator of the Biodiversity Collaborative, member of the advisory committee of Sanjeevan Biodiversity Conservation Program, and professor at the Coexistence Studies Group at the University of Transdisciplinary Health Science and Technology. He is an avid sports fan and player of a lot of cricket in his younger days. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I invite our chief guest, Dr. Ravichalayam sir, wildlife biologist, conservation scientist, CEO of Metastring Foundation and professor, Coexistence Studies Group at the University of Transdisciplinary Health Science and Technology, in the topic, The Remarkable Story of the Asiatic Lion, Panthera leo. Sir, you are welcome, sir.
Thank you. I'll begin by sharing my screen.
Yes, sir.
It's loading, it says. Can you see it?
Yes, sir. It is well, sir.
I am not. Slowly coming. Okay. Good evening. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you about my work with the lions, which began more than 40 years ago in 1985. This was work I did through the Wildlife Institute of India. I was a junior research fellow and then a senior research fellow at the Wildlife Institute before joining the institute faculty. Not many Indians are aware that India has the only population of lions in Asia and that the lions were India's first national animal. Soon after independence, the lions were nominated as India's national animal, and only in 1972, 1973, when the Wildlife Protection Act was brought into force and Project Tiger was launched in 1973, that the national animal was changed from the Asiatic lion to the Indian tiger. Many people also still think that the scientific name for the Asiatic lion is Panthera leo persica. It is true that for many years that was the scientific name, but in the last 10 years or so, based on genetic evidence, they've established that there are only two subspecies of lions today, and the Asian lions, the lions in India, are the same subspecies as the lions in Central and West Africa, which is Panthera leo. And then you have the second subspecies in Eastern and Southern Africa. Later on, I'll show you a map to illustrate that. What I'm trying to do today is to give you an introduction of the ecology of the species, ecology of Gir, what we have done well, what are the current challenges, what are the threats, and what I think needs to be done to deal with the situations so that the remarkable conservation success that we've achieved over the last century or so is strengthened and amplified rather than put it at risk. Uh, it's not changing. Slide is not changing.
Sir,
Slide is not changing.
sir, you can give. Sir, it's changing now, sir.
Wait, it's just dialing up. Can you see? I can't see whether it has still come on. Yeah, it's come on now. It's not. What changed last time when we did it?
Yes, sir. It will work now, sir. Last time we have a.
Oh God.
Sir, kindly share this to your email, sir.
Oh, that's a very heavy file. Is it changing now?
It's changing now, sir. It is changing
Okay. Okay, fine. I will use it from my PowerPoint. It's not happening in Google Meet, but I'll do this from PowerPoint. So lions are peculiar or unique, I should say, amongst large cats because they are what is called as sexually dimorphic, which means when you look at a male lion, you know it is male. When you look at a male tiger or a male leopard or a male jaguar, it's not easy to determine whether it's a male or a female. You will have to have some training, at least some idea of where to look for. Typically, you need to look under the tail to figure out whether it's a male or a female. And not often are you going to be able to see it. But with a lion, even from a distance, because it has a mane, you can very clearly make out it's a male. And here is probably the most handsome male Asiatic lion I've seen. You can see how clearly the growth is there. And typically it comes in a shade of colors. It can be very light blonde colored and it can also become jet black. There is a sense that as the animal ages, for us, our hair goes white and gray. For lions, it tends to go black. And here is a female, and so you can make out the difference. The female doesn't have a mane. And the other thing about Asiatic lions is they all have a belly fold. If you look underneath the abdomen, you can see a clear flap of skin. It's very pronounced in males. It is also visible in females, but it's not so clearly pronounced as it is in males. Um, uh, Mr. Ramji, it's changing. No, slides are changing.
Yeah, it's changing, sir.
Okay, Abdi, if it doesn't
It's
change, just
changing.
let me
Yeah.
know.
Okay, definitely, sir.
The difference between African and Asian lions, here is a photograph of an African lion. African lions typically have a much, much larger, more luxurious mane. For instance, you can't even see the ears here. So, if the Asiatic lions have a sparser mane and you can always see the ears, in African males, um, the mane is really luxuriant and it hides the ears. But Africa also has a population of maneless lions. Here are two male lions. You can see there are hardly any mane. So if you can't see the ears because the mane is luxuriant, or if you see maneless lions, you can be sure these are African lions. In Asiatic lions, it's the sparser mane. In this picture, look carefully near the mouth of the animal. You see a series of spots or dots. These are called viscous spots, and you can see at least 3 rows of this. The arrangement of these spots are unique to each animal. The arrangement on the left side is somewhat different from the arrangement on the right side, and they are as unique as human fingerprints. So, the best way to recognize and even estimate populations of the Asiatic lion is to use this, because unlike a tiger or a leopard, the leopard lion's body does not have any marking. Tigers has stripes, leopard has rosettes, and those are also arranged in unique patterns. And now you know they are using camera traps to capture these images and then use statistics to figure out what the population is. But with the case of lions, because they have no body markings, the only thing that we can use is the viscous spot patterns, or what are called as vibrissae spot patterns. But it's unfortunate that the current official way of counting lions does not use this. Not, as I said, not many people know India has lions. Not many people get to see the variety and beauty of these animals and the Gir forest. So I'm going to kind of show some images to give you a sense of what our lions are like. Here is a female with relatively young cubs, and here is a male, a female with a pair of cubs. Now, it is quite normal for us to think that this is the lion family, that there is a male, there's a female, and there are two young. But that's an incorrect way of looking at it. Lions, apart from being sexually dimorphic, are unique because they're also the only social cat. No other cat lives in groups. Lions lives in groups. These are called prides, and the pride does not really have a male. The pride is a bunch of related females. Here you can see a picture of 3 or 4 generations of lions. This is the pride. This is the core of a pride. And then you have males, anything from 2 to even up to 7 males living in a group. And these are called a coalition of males. And these coalitions tend to associate with one or more prides. And typically, they hold this for between 3 to 5 years, after which younger males will come and drive them away and take over the pride. So, the only stable unit of lion society is the pride, which is essentially, as I said, a bunch of related females. So you can have 3, 4 generations of females, then you have young, and the young females, as they grow, most of them will continue to stay in the pride. All the males will have to leave the pride. This is to prevent inbreeding. So here you see a 3 male group. This was part of my study. There were actually 5 males in the coalition. Just because they are in a coalition doesn't mean you see all of them together all the time. Here there is 2 males, again part of that 5 male coalition, sleeping under a banyan tree. And Gir is a forest. So um, unlike what we typically see on television, uh, you know, the lions are in savannas in Africa, but even in Africa, in Central West Africa, lions live in forest, but our lions are living in dry deciduous forest. So I was talking about the recent reclassification, recent as in about 10 years ago, based on genetic evidence. And as you can see, um, West Africa, Central Africa, and even here, and then all the way to Gir, are all belonging to the subspecies Panthera leo leo. The East African and Southern African lion populations are Panthera leo melanochaeta. The lions evolved in Africa, and through a natural process of dispersal, there was no human agency involved. They would have crossed across right here, past the Arabian Peninsula. Lions have been known to have been recorded in the Euphrates and Tigris Valley of Iraq and through much of India, as I will show you in a minute. Here you have a map where the historical distribution of lions has been reconstructed, and each dot is based on a shikar record, a hunting record, or a traveler's record. And you can see even what is today Afghanistan, Pakistan, and maybe the older. I mean, this map was prepared before the USSR broke up into various countries. So that was the distribution. And if you look in India, not just in Gujarat, but Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, as far east as Bihar and Bengal, the lions used to be there. And the only reason today lions are restricted to the Gir forest in Gujarat is human action. Firearms came to India around 1850s, 1860s, and in 20, 30 years, we were very efficient in shooting and killing lions, thousands of lions right across the country. The only difference between tigers, leopards, and lions are, of course, lions are social. So if you see one lion, you're going to see many lions. So it is easier to eliminate a larger number of lions. Secondly, lions live in relatively more open habitat, so it's easier to access. And thirdly, lions roar regularly. So if you don't see a lion, you will hear a lion without fail. So that gave the clue to the hunters as to their location. And that's how lions got wiped out through most of India. And here, here's a table based on evidence in various publications. Don't pay attention to the accuracy of these numbers, but look at the trend. If you look at 1880 and 1913, the numbers reported are less than 12 and around 20, really low numbers. So we very nearly lost the lions. Since 1920, you can see the lion numbers have been recovering. I did my studies between 85 and 1990, and you can see then the population was 239 and 284, and it's a long time ago. And since then, the most recent census happened in 2025, about a year ago, and you can see that the lion population has gone up to 891, which is why I have titled this talk as The Remarkable Story of the Asiatic Lion, because we don't quite celebrate this fantastic conservation success that we have had with the lions, not just prevented extinction, but grown the population to be nearly 1,000 animals now. This graph that you're seeing, you see two bits of data. The pink bars are representing the lion population number, while the yellow trend line shows you the distribution, the area, geographic area over which these lions are found. And as per the 2025 lion census report, lions are now supposed to be occurring in 35,000 square kilometers. Please keep this in mind. Two numbers to keep in mind. The current population is 891, and that these lions are found in about 35,000 square kilometers. This is a map of the main protected area, which is the Gir forest. The central dark green has the status of a national park. The surrounding habitat in light green has the status of a wildlife sanctuary. In India, a national park gives the highest legal protection to a protected area. Certain activities which are allowed in a wildlife sanctuary are not allowed in a national park. So you have a situation where the core area, at least from a geographic perspective, in Gir, has the highest protection, and the surrounding area has a slightly lesser level of protection. The national park is about 250 square kilometers. The surrounding area is about 1,100 square kilometers. All of it put together is less than 1,500 square kilometers. So you're looking at a protected area of roughly between 1,500, because there are a few other smaller protected areas around. A maximum of 2,000 square kilometers is only protected habitat. And we, in the earlier graph, saw that lions occur in 35,000 square kilometers. That means 33,000 square kilometers in which lions occur are really not protected area. And I will shortly show you images to give you a sense of what kind of habitats in which these lions occur. Look carefully at this map. You will see several roads are passing through. There are several reservoirs. There are even 2 or 3 railway lines cutting through the protected area, which is giving you a sense that even in the case of Gir, which is a very important protected area in India, which is the only habitat for lions in Asia, you still have a lot of, within quotes, development activities. Many of them are historical roads and railway lines, which are still going through. You do have the occasional lion or other forms of other species of wildlife getting crushed by trains going through the forest. This is what Gir looks like. It's a series of low hills. It is not flat land primarily. It is a dry deciduous forest. From a climate topography perspective, we typically divide the forest into three, the protected area into three bits. The western part of Gir, which is the wildlife sanctuary part, and then you have the central national park, and then you have the eastern Gir. So this is an image of western Gir, and this is what the forest looks like when you walk through it. A lot of teak, a lot of thorny but very rich fodder species like Ziziphus, Bahunia, uh, Caresa, and so on. And when you go to the east, this receives much lesser rainfall. West gets about 950 millimeters of rainfall. The east gets only about 650 millimeters of rainfall. And you see how the canopy is much shorter. It's much more open. This looks more like an African savanna habitat. If you notice in the map, there are several perennial rivers going through, and this is the one that flows by Sasan, which is the park headquarters, called the Hiran River. And I quite like this image. It's one of the rare times when I've actually seen a lion cross a river like this. These rivers are ecologically very, very important. You are dealing with a semi-arid part of India. The rains typically come from about July to end of September. And as I said, in a good monsoon, you'll get about 950 to 1,000 millimeters of rainfall. Typically, every 7-10 years, there is a drought. So water is a very scarce resource, is a very important resource for all forms of life, plants included. And because low rainfall, long dry season, from about February, water gets restricted to the rivers. Forest Department, of course, sets up artificial water holes and puts water out, but naturally occurring water largely is only found along the rivers and streams. The monsoon has a magical impact and effect on Gir. If you'd seen the earlier images, it's largely dry. But once the rain starts, it's as if somebody has taken a brush and painted all of it green. In a matter of days, the whole scenery changes. Plants take advantage of the availability of water and rapidly grow because their growth season is restricted. Look carefully toward the middle of the picture, you will see a leopard. Gir has one of the finest, largest populations of leopard. Leopard is also a large cat, and the only way the lions and leopards are able to coexist is simply because the leopard is a great tree climber. One way of looking at it is that the lions primarily live on the ground floor of the forest, and the leopard lives in the first floor of the forest. It's not as if the leopard always lives in a tree, but if it has to escape from a lion, if it has to take a kill and keep it safe from lions, it will be happy to take it up a tree. Gir, even today, and more so when I did my studies between late 85 and early 90, had grazing community called Maldaris who share space with lions, leopards, and other forms of wildlife. These Maldaris at that point of time were primarily using camels as their mode of transport, but in the last decade or so, they've also gotten motorcycles and people who can afford them. So they are also, in that sense, developing. Their main occupation is to graze buffaloes. Their herds are typically 40, 50 per livestock per family, of which the majority would be buffaloes, and they will have about 5 or 6 cows, and occasionally they might even have a horse, and of course, one or two camels. And the grazing is restricted to the wildlife sanctuary part of the protected area. Grazing is forbidden, is not allowed in the national park. And they live in thorn enclosed settlements like this, and these are called nests, NESS, and they do not have electricity, they do not have running water, so they typically will locate their nests close to a perennial source of water, because both for their own needs and as well for their livestock, they need a lot of water. This opening that you see at night will be closed by those thorn bushes that are lying around to prevent the entry of predators. This is an early morning picture, something like 4 a.m. And their main product that they take to the market is ghee. So they would convert the milk into curds, and then they will churn it, make butter, convert that into ghee. I mean, of course, no refrigerator and things like that. So, and ghee has a longer shelf life. And once in a week or 10 days, then the ghee would be taken to the market. In those days, ghee would be exchanged for cattle feed, for grains, and other groceries that they need to feed themselves on. Again, more recently, I'm told that lots of dairy have come around Gir now, and they have refrigerated trucks coming in on a regular basis, or on a daily basis, to collect the milk. So I think their market linkages has changed now, and they're getting much better price also for their milk. Lions are, of course, carnivorous. They need to eat fairly significant quantities of meat, and the main prey for the lions in Gir is spotted deer or cheetal. But the preferred prey for lions is India's largest species of deer, the sambar. Here you can see a lion resting, and it's a very well fed lion. If you look carefully, you can see the protruding belly on the side. Um, you also focus on the two long teeth that you see in the lower jaw. The lions have a pair of canine teeth, one in the lower jaw and one in the upper jaw. These four teeth are very, very important tools for the lion to actually deliver the killing bite. They are very efficient, not only predators but also consumers, and they are quite happy even stealing kills from leopard if they get the opportunity. They will scavenge if animals have died also in the wild. Nobody worries about who has killed it. If you can take hold of it, you take hold of it, because there's no free meal there. Hunting is a risky thing. And also, hunting does not succeed all the time. Only 20% of the attempts to hunt succeed, which is 1 in 5. And hunting takes a lot of energy out of the animal. Here, you see the remains of a cheetal male. A cheetal is a deer, and as I know, they grow antlers, which are shed every year. And so, if you look at the top of the head, you can see the regrowing antler has also been fed upon. And here is the remaining part of the carcass. These were two male lions. Because they were radio collared, I'd been following them for about 10 days, and they hadn't had a significant meal during those 10 days. This was a winter morning, and suddenly at about 4 5 a I think 5 a.m, I heard some commotion in the forest. Obviously I couldn't go in because there was no light. After 7 o'clock, by the time I went in, these two males had killed this cheetal, fed upon it, and completely cleared it, because for 10 12 days, for 10 days, they had not had any food at all. Some close-up shots of lions eating. Now, the canines are good to kill, but canines are of very little use to eat, because they are not capable of tearing the flesh from the carcass. What I mean, we use knives and other cutlery, fork and spoon to be if you want to cut meat and eat. Lions don't have access to that. What do they have? They have their four paws, and they have modified molar teeth called carnassial. These carnassials are sharp like knife, and that's what this lion is doing, applying the side of its mouth, using the carnassials to cut chunks of meat from the carcass. Lions do not chew their food, they cut chunks of meat and just swallow it. And here you get a good view of how it is using the paw to hold on to the carcass while feeding on it. Here is a group of lions, two females and four young ones, feeding on a cheetal. If you look carefully towards the left of the picture, you can see the leg of the cheetal and the rump of the cheetal. And here is one adult female who weighed about 110 kilos, feeding on a Nilgai bull who would have weighed about 300 kilos. So you can see how efficient these are. She hunted this male Nilgai alone. So even an animal thrice its size, it's able to hunt and feed upon. Nilgai, by the way, is the largest antelope in South Asia. Lions live also outside the forest, and typically outside, they will feed on livestock, even though there is a recent publication from primarily written by the forest department people, Gujarat Forest Department people, saying that they are also eating quite significant amount of wild prey. Here you see a pair of lions, a male standing and a female on the ground. For those who study zoology, if you look carefully at the face of the male, it is exhibiting a behavior called phlegm, where it is testing the chemicals in the atmosphere in an hour. And here you can see uh, the male and female. The mating is a kind of violent, loud affair, and you can see the way they are moving. This is not normal. You, when a if they're not mating, they will not move like this. So it's clearly the female is interested in the male is interested in the female, and each copulation lasts only for about 20 seconds. And you can see the size difference. The male is so much bigger than the female. So the female at one level also feels threatened. So if the male after ejaculation doesn't dismount, the female will turn around and slap him on his face. Male lion's main job is to patrol and defend its territory. So they often get into fights, they can pick up injuries like this, but they also have amazing powers of healing. There's really no need to intervene. They are resilient, and even if an occasional animal dies, this is natural. This is a part of nature. We should be very careful when we intervene. Oh, the animal is injured. Yes, that's part of its life. This is not a zoo. This is not a safari park. True wild animals have just left alone, and death is not a bad thing. It's the circumstances of death. Is it poisoning? Is it electrocution? Is it a road accident? Is it a train accident? Is it disease? Those are the kind of things we need to keep an eye on and not try to save every single individual animal. Here you see two males patrolling. They like man-made paths because it's free of leaf litter, not free of thorns, and that is a bonus for researchers like me because when they are walking on such places with tracks with fine dust, they leave their pug marks behind, and it becomes easy for me to follow. What are they defending? Essentially, coalitions of males are defending females, defending access to females so that they can mate with them, so that they can pass on their genes to the next generation. So it's the females and the young that the males are defending. And since their tenure is limited, so 3 to about 5 years, they want to maximize their time to produce as many cubs as possible and protect them so that their genes is carried on into the population. So slightly older cubs here, female and older cubs. Now, as I said, lions roar regularly. Lions can roar while sitting like this, they can roar while walking, they can roar while lying down. Their body position doesn't influence whether they can roar or not. They're just happily roaring. They typically start roaring about an hour before sunset and about a couple of hours after sunrise. And males would roar 3-4 times every hour. And I look at the signal, or I would say when we meet somebody now, at least in the olden days, we used to give visiting cards, which had your name, which had your designation, your address, email ID, phone number, and so on and so forth. Obviously, animals don't have visiting cards, but you should look at the roar like a visiting card because each lion recognizes each other's roar. Uh, just listening to it, I couldn't recognize roars other than one male lion who had a permanent sore throat throughout the 2.5 years I was following him. That is unusual. But lions clearly recognize each other from their roar. When a lion roars, it is sending two kinds of signal to the females in his pride, to his coalition mates. He's basically saying, I am there, I am defending the territory, and I am here right now. There is nothing to worry. But the same message going out to other males who are not part of his coalition is, I am strong, I am capable of defending my territory. Please do not come and mess with me. If you come, I will fight you. So, depending on who the recipient, who is listening to the roar, the message is different. So, a roar is a short duration because it lasts only about 30 seconds, 35 seconds, but long distance visiting card. It can go if the lion is on top of a hill, if it's not windy, if the forest is silent, 6, 7, 8 kilometers the roar can carry. The other visiting card is a scent mark. Now you can see a male lion squirt urine with pheromones onto that tree. Now this is a short distance but long lasting scent mark, in the sense that typically lions while patrolling will scent mark every 10, 15, 20 meters, and they are looking for trees which are slightly bent, or rocks, or even we construct culverts and various other things we construct. So anything that which has a slight bend to it, because it is trying to protect the scent mark from direct sunlight, from rain, and so on. But these lines would repeatedly come every 10, 15 days. They will go right through the entire area to keep their scent mark fresh. So like roar, each scent mark is unique. So if a lion comes and smells the scent mark, it will know who was the lion who had come and gone, how long ago it had scent mark. So this is the roar, as I said, is a long distance, short duration, because once the lion stops roaring, you don't know the signal. The signal is no longer there. But in the scent mark, under favorable weather conditions, it can last up to a week, 10 days. So, but you have to come next to the scent mark to smell it. So it's a short distance but longer duration visiting card. This is a picture from 1987. The person with the blue jeans and blue white shirt is Dr. AJT Johnson, India's first wildlife biologist. He was my PhD supervisor, and the person sitting next to him is me, much younger version, of course. And that is a tranquilized adult male lion, and you can see the radio collar around its neck. I had the good fortune to radio collar 8 animals and study them. And why do we need to radio collar? Because without a radio collar, consistently locating the same animal over a long period of time is very difficult and sometimes even impossible. How do we do it? I obviously was already in the field. I'd spent about a year before we identified the lions the individual lines we needed to capture for radio collaring, so that helps you answer the research questions you are asking. And you dart it with a dart gun, and the dart has a immobilizing medicine drug, and it takes between 5 to 10 minutes after you have darted for the line to get immobilized. Once it is immobilized, you check its health, monitor its breathing, make sure it's in the right position, comfortable, quickly take all the measurements, whatever ticks or whatever samples you want to take, then put the radio collar, test the radio collar, make sure it's functioning. And the last thing you do is carry it on this kind of improvised stretcher to weigh the animal. I had a circular balance which was hung from a tree, and then to that balance we would hook this improvised stretcher, and we get the weight of the animal. My work was made possible by the wonderful support I had of my field assistants. Several of them are here, and the person in the camouflage cap is Dr. Jamal Khan, who's a professor at Aligarh Muslim University. He was my colleague in the field. He was studying the ecology of deer and antelopes while I was studying the ecology of the lions. Once you put the radio collar out, then the responsibility is yours to go out and track it. Now, look at radio collars like FM station. I mean, every city now has several FM stations. As I said, I had 8 radio collars, collared lines. So the box-like thing which is hanging from my shoulder is the receiver. You can set the frequency. So I knew the frequency of each radio collar. I will tune and then climb a hill, because that gives me a far better chance of locating the animal, and turn around 360 degrees to find out from which direction the signal is coming. And if I got a signal, then I would use the compass, take a bearing, go towards in that direction to locate the animal. This is data of my student, Dr. Meena Venkatraman, and made possible by radio collaring. So as you can see, in the center of the map, you have natal territory, 2001. That means this is where that lion was born. Then the male dispersed, because as I said, from about 18 to 20 months, male lions are told very clearly by the rest of the pride, especially by the adult females, that they have to leave the pride. This is to prevent inbreeding. So the young male leaves the pride, leaves the natal territory, and settled down first in a place in 2002. And then look at that. It moves far northwest, and that is its second tenure in 2003. And again, after some time, it is moved again. Now, without a radio collar, there's absolutely no way of getting this kind of information. I asked you to keep in mind 2 bits of information, one of which is that lines are found over 35,000 square kilometers. Now, this is a slightly older map, and you can see already the number of lions which are found outside Gir. That little patch of green towards the center of the picture is the protected area, which has about 304 lions. But outside of it, you have in patches several more lions. So in that count, the landscape occupied by the lions was 22,000 square kilometers. Since then, the lion has, that is a 2015 report. So 10 years from then, the lions have expanded their distribution to 35,000 square kilometers. This is a map from the 2025 report. This is the expanded distribution of lions. And you can see Pania Wildlife Sanctuary, Mityala Wildlife Sanctuary, Girnar Wildlife Sanctuary, all very, very small, and then Barda Wildlife Sanctuary far to the northwest of Gir. But even this, in terms of the actual distance, is barely 100 kilometers between Gir and Barda. But the line itself is occupying in total about 335,000 square kilometers. But you also see that large cities, which even have airports like Rajkot, Bhavnagar, Junagadh, Veeraval, are all part of this 35,000 square kilometers. So you have, if not tens of lakhs of people living there, a lot of it is agricultural land and so on, which is where these lions are now living. And this is a table from that report again, which shows you where the lines are found. The first one, two, three, four, five, no, four are protected areas. The rest of it is all non-protected area. And I did a quick calculation out of the 891 lines, 44%, which is 394 lines, are found outside the protected area, and 55%, which is 497 lines, are found within these four or five protected areas. I'm now going to show you a couple of pictures and a few videos just to give you a sense of where the lines are today. This is a photograph taken by a driver who, from a car, you can see the windscreen. What do you see? You see an apartment, small apartment complex. You see there's a fence, and there are three adult lions trying to cross this fence. I mean, how many of us, while driving back home from work, are going to be seeing wild lions? But this is more or less a daily occurrence in this region now. This is a video. So in the previous photograph was a night photograph. Now this is a daytime photograph in a village. They obviously knew a line was there, but I mean, they're all there. The line is running through all of them. Um, you know, it does create challenges. This has no audio, but look carefully both at the gate and the road and also the security hut. This is Junagadh. It's what, 5 a.m. You see traffic going. This is a hotel CCTV camera footage. Hotel Sarovar. So there are cars going. There are two-wheelers going. It's a main road. And then you see this, an adult lion jumping into the hotel. It obviously rattled the gate, and the security guard heard that. He was obviously sleeping, and he wakes up to see what is happening. And the traffic continues going. The traffic doesn't know there's a line. One vehicle passed, another is coming. The security guard doesn't see anything, and he decides to go back to sleep. The lion, after having found nothing of interest, decides to come out and go out. Traffic continues. It again rattles the gate, and the guard again wakes up. By that time, the lion is gone. So these are not unusual. I get videos like this almost on a daily basis. So this is a single story house. And what do you see on the terrace? There's an adult lion which is roaring. There are people living inside. Below, you can see the lights, and somebody else who's close by has filmed it. I mean, how many of us would like the experience of a wild lion on top of our house roaring? But again, this is not an uncommon experience. This is from Diu, the Union Territory next to close to Gujarat, and this is on the beach. You see a pair of lions, male and female, daytime, walking through. Somebody is using their mobile phone to take this footage. And you can see them speaking in Gujarati, hear them speaking in Gujarati. And see, you can in the background see the buildings. So, it's daytime, it's not even night. So this is where the lions are today. Nearly 400 lions are outside in these kind of habitats. And these things happen. Of late, several people have been attacked, many of them have been killed, and this is a worrying development. Lions have also died due to disease, various things. And these are all newspaper reports from credible sources. Even the Supreme Court has had a say in this matter. And not just disease, you have trains knocking them down, you have electrocution, um, they fall into wells. So, a variety of reasons which cause unnatural death for these lions. And it's not one or two lions we're talking about. You're dealing with fairly large numbers of lions that are dying. Of course, death itself is not a negative thing. All of us will die, but it's the circumstances, the causes that we need to worry about. In the middle of all of this, a very important habitat, you can see the date of this report is May 2026, so it's barely 3 months ago. Um, the government of Gujarat is giving mining leases to an area which has resident lion population. So local wildlife activists are opposing this. Local villagers are also actively opposing this. This is all to give you kind of a sense of what is actually happening on the ground today. Now, my PhD work was commissioned by the Wildlife Institute of India, which, by the way, is an autonomous institution of Government of India. And my job was to go and find out what the lion is eating, how much area it needs, what is its social organization, basically get information that will inform the planning and uh, establishment of a second uh, uh, population of free ranging wild lions. Why do we need that? We need that because all lions in Asia, all lions in India, all wild lions in Asia, all wild lions in India are found only in one location. They might number 1,000 animals now, but having all of them in a single location creates a lot of risk. It is what we call as having all your eggs in one basket. Whether you have 5 eggs, 50 eggs, 500 eggs, or maybe even 5,000 eggs, if the basket falls down, it's very likely that all your eggs will break. So, right from the first meeting, what was then called the Indian Board for Wildlife, there has been a clear recognition that it is risky to have all our lions only in Gir. In the early 50s, I think 56 or 55, there was a decision taken that lions should be translocated. In 1956, the Uttar Pradesh state government agreed to set up a second population in Uttar Pradesh. Gujarat government chose two females, two lionesses and one male, and put them on a train, which then came to UP in December 1957. And they were taken to a forest called Chandraprabha, close to Varanasi. And after a few weeks in a cage, in an enclosure, in January of 58, these two females and males were released to roam free. So you can see that for what? No, 70 years ago, we actually undertook a translocation of lions. It was only one male and two females, but we actually did it. And they were put on a train. Nowadays, of course, we will use helicopters and so on. But the problem was Chandraprabha was very small. It was less than 100 square kilometers. Obviously, having a male and two females, the lions bred. And over a period of time, by 1965, local reports indicate that those three lions grew to be 11 lions. But after that, it says the lions disappeared. Obviously, lions did not disappear. Lions should have dispersed. Lions should have got into conflict, would have preyed livestock, might have even attacked people. And this is before the Wildlife Protection Act. And in those areas, you have zamindars. Zamindars would have guns. and those lions would have been shot. In short, what we need to take home from that is it is a good plan. It did succeed in the fact that the lions could be transported. From 3, they grew to 11 in a short span of time. But because the space was too small, because there was not sufficient monitoring, we lost those animals. Having learned from that, the Wildlife Institute of India, based on a Government of India National Board for Wildlife request, started planning the lion translocation, and that's why I was sent to collect the information. Based on that information, we undertook a survey. We actually asked uh, several states which were part of the former range, distribution range of lions, to suggest suitable sites for translocating and establishing a second free ranging population. Based on the information we got, we chose 3 sites for survey. And based on our survey, we chose Kuno Wildlife Sanctuary in northwestern Madhya Pradesh bordering Rajasthan as the most suitable site. And in this photograph, you see the Kuno River, which is a perennial tributary of the Chambal, and it had quite diverse, excellent wildlife habitat suitable for lions, dry patches, open grassland, wet bamboo patches like this, and very productive, as you can see. Many of these pictures are taken during a survey in 94, 95. In January 1995, on behalf of the Wildlife Institute, I gave my recommendation to Government of India, and in that meeting, 25th January 1995, in the Secretary, Government of India Secretary, Ministry of Environment and Forest, then the Chief Wildlife Wardens of Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat were there, and based on that, from 1st of April 1995, Government of India has been operating Project Lion in Kuno National Park, provided enormous support to Madhya Pradesh government to manage and prepare Kuno to host lions. Now, unfortunately, the Gujarat government has taken an antagonistic view to this. Despite all the preparation, all the evidence, they have not agreed to send lions to Madhya Pradesh. So, based on this, a public spirited citizen went to court, filed a public interest litigation, and that um, made its way through court in February 2012. I was asked to serve as an expert witness to the forest bench of the Supreme Court, and for about 6 months, I would travel almost every week from Bangalore to Delhi to be in court to assist the court. Then on 15th of April 2013, the court gave its judgment. It ordered the translocation of lions from Gir to Kuno in letter and spirit within 6 months. 6 months from 15th of April 2013, according to my calculation, is 14th of October 2013. And very soon we will be in October 2026. It is a well argued, well presented, very well informed judgment. I only give you glimpses of what the judgment says. It says preservation of an endangered species for which we have to apply the species best interest standard. In other words, the only criteria we need to have in mind is what is in the best interest of the species and not what is of interest to us as human beings. At that point of time, Government of India had started working on Project Cheetah, and in 2010 they had done some survey, produced a report, and they were looking at bringing cheetahs to Kuno. While the hearing was going on in 2012, Gujarat government made the argument that since cheetahs are smaller and weaker than lions, let us first get the cheetahs into Kuno. After they have settled down, we can consider bringing the lions. The bench got quite upset about that position Gujarat was taking. It basically said we should first focus on our native wildlife. The lions need a second home. We should not be looking at introducing African cheetahs in Kuno. So, in the judgment, it says the order of the Ministry of Environment and Forest to introduce African cheetahs into Kuno cannot stand in the eye of law, and the same is quashed, or in other words, it's held illegal. Now, after the judgment, one of the things the judgment asked the government to do was to form an expert committee. That committee was formed in July 2013. Dr. Johnson is a member. Of course, he's no more now. I'm a member. There are several others who are members of that committee. The committee has not even met since December of 2016. Gujarat continues to delay the progress of translocation. They've been complaining Kuno is not ready, something or the other. Kuno is definitely ready. 24 villages have been relocated. More than 1,500 families have sacrificed. They've moved. The prey base has improved. The management capacity has improved. Since 2018, lions have been, at least on record, dying quite frequently due to disease. And the dreaded disease of canine distemper virus and babesiosis are now on record. And I state this because the world's largest lion population lives in the Masai Mara, Serengeti Masai Mara ecosystem, 3,000 lions. In the early 90s, I think 1994, there was an outbreak of babesiosis and canine distemper virus. And in a matter of weeks, 1,000 lions died. We don't even have 1,000 lions. And now that these diseases have come, we are tempting fate by not translocating them. Because if you translocate, you put distance, you put geographical separation between those two populations. So it's unlikely that the same disease at the same time will attack, will strike at both places. It's like buying life insurance. None of us buy health insurance, life insurance, thinking we're going to die tomorrow, we're going to fall ill tomorrow. But it is a protection. If something happens, then you have a fallback option. So the lion translocation is really to manage our success, is to ensure that our success continues for several more decades and centuries moving forward. It is in no way any negative view of what Gujarat and the government and people of Gujarat have been able to achieve when it comes to lion conservation. Unfortunately, despite the Supreme Court order, um, since 2020, we have the cheetah complication. In September 2022, the cheetahs came to Kuno, despite the Supreme Court saying you cannot introduce cheetahs into Kuno. So today, it's no longer science or conservation. It's a question of whether India as a society has respect for the rule of law. Last few slides to wrap up. This is my first photograph of a lion, December of 1985. I had only seen one large cat before this, and that was a leopard in Mundandurai. Actually, I should correct myself. I've seen, this was my third sighting of a large cat. In October of 85, I saw a pair of leopards in Sariska. But this was the second one I was seeing on foot. Um, I was asked to start work in Gir. So I came from Dehradun to Gujarat to first do a recce to find out what arrangements are needed to locate a field base and things like that, and to also make sure our permissions were in place. So I came to Gujarat from Dehradun, first went to Gandhinagar, which is the state capital, then to Baroda, which is where the forest department was headquartered, and then came to Gir. I spent about 4 days here. The forest department was very welcoming, very hospitable, gave me a place to stay, gave me a local village boy to be my guide, and wherever they could provide me vehicular support would drop me. I was allowed to spend 1 or 2 nights in the forest and so on. But through all of this, I saw plenty of lion pug marks. I saw plenty of lion droppings, what we call scats, remains of its kills. Heard them roar, but I hadn't seen a lion. And this was my last evening. We were walking back. We were still 5 or 6 kilometers from the gate before we could exit. And about 100 meters ahead of us, 4 lions came on the road. And I was scared. I was really frightened. I turned to this about 15-year-old boy who was my guide and told him in my broken Hindi, what should we do? He just put his fingers on his lips and indicated I needed to be silent. So I held my breath, kept quiet. These lions kept coming towards us. And this guy was very, very calm. He was not worried at all. By the time I realized I had a camera and the binoculars, but given my anxious state, I hadn't used any of them. By the time I took my camera to focus, 3 of those lions had disappeared into the bush, but I got this image. And this is my first lion photo. I'm quite proud of it. It took me about 6 months to do this. That's me in the foreground. You can see 3 lions in the background. I told you how you identify lions, which is the whisker spot pattern. You can see the dense vegetation. You might have powerful binoculars, telescopes, telephoto lenses, but unless you got close to these lions, you would not be able to use the vibrissae spot patterns, record the vibrissae spot patterns to identify them. That is the only reason I kind of figured out ways of approaching these lions quite closely. Here is a subadult radio collared male lion sleeping. It's a hot summer mid afternoon. And I crept up. Those days, I didn't have a very powerful lens. This was a 35-105 zoom. So I crept up slowly without making noise. I took this image. Of course, the shutter of the camera made a noise. And look at the response of the animal. It's curiosity. It's not immediately trying to attack me or anything like that. Just turned over to see what was it. These lions, that way, being wild animals for sure, but they are very, very unique in the kind of access that they give people who know how to behave with them. Here's another image to give you a sense of that. That's my own shadow. I'm taking that photograph. This isn't a big adult male lion. Obviously, you don't take these photographs immediately after you see an animal. This you take, you judge, you make a sense of what is the mood of the animal, how is it behaving, and then over a period of time. This took me about an hour or so before I could get into this position. I didn't even realize my shadow was in it when I took the image. But given my short lens, I did have to come close to these animals to take these pictures. I never get tired of talking about lions because I said most Indians don't recognize that we have Asia's only lion population, that it's a fantastic conservation success story, but it still has challenges and problems that we need to deal with. I just hope at least some of you will carry this message forward and this doesn't end up being the road to extinction for the lions. And in today's modern world, we are so much caught up with our devices, spend most of our time indoors, that we often forget that nature is all around us. Simple things like watching sunrise, sunset, these are ways of reconnecting with nature. And I urge, especially the younger people in the audience, to make a conscious effort to spend some time literally every day, even if it's 10, 15 minutes, spending time alone, spending time in nature, watching, learning, and getting energized by that experience. As I said earlier, none of this would have been possible without the fantastic support that I got from my wonderful set of field assistants. This was the most senior, most knowledgeable of them, Wazir Bhai. He's passed away, unfortunately, but he was an old man even then, who just was a silent, knowledgeable person who would just keep walking and he'll just point things out. And I mean, it's just amazing how local people understand our wildlife and our forests. Unfortunately, with our conservation model mainly pushing for local communities to be distanced from nature, disconnected from nature, this skill, this art is dying a slow death. I thank everybody, especially Gujarat Forest Department, the Ministry of Environment, Wildlife Institute of India, my field assistants, the Maldaris, especially Ibrahim Bapu and his family who adopted me, Meena, Manoj, Kalyan, and Shantanu for some of the photos I've used today, Rajus College, Nature Club, and Lions Club of Rajapalayam for giving me this opportunity, Mr. Ramji for contacting me and coordinating, and the audience for patient listening. I can be contacted at the Gmail address I've given, and I'm happy to take questions. Thank you.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. You really got more knowledge of line now. It's time for question session. You can unmute and you can raise your questions and your clarification. Participants?
Good evening, sir. I am Anand Kumar. Commissioner for Rural Development Training. I'm talking from Chennai. I'm in a car and light is less, so I'm using the audio mode, sir.
Chalo.
I was listening to your presentation, sir. It's one of the very good presentation, and thank you so much. I heard about the translocation idea and the events which are associated with that. And I have friends in forest department of Tamil Nadu also. We used to discuss, and I thank the Rajus College of people also to connect me with this presentation. Thank you so much, sir. I don't have any question. I only wanted to appreciate and thank sir for the liveliness. You told that speaking about lion, you will never get tired, and you advised us to spend at least 15 minutes with the nature. I will follow that. Thank you so much, sir.
Most welcome. Thank you.
Anyone else? Sir, I have one question from you.
Ah.
Sir, what is the real meaning of GIR, sir? GIR.
I don't know. The nearby big hill is called Girnar,
Yes.
and that there's a wildlife sanctuary. Gir. I really don't know.
In mythology, the GIR means it means come. They are comparing that lion with some gods.
Don't know. Don't know. Don't know. Don't know. I haven't looked at that. I haven't. I can't give you an informed
Okay.
answer. Sorry.
Okay, sir. Okay. Is there any participants you can ask your clarifications regarding lions?
No, this is all. This is you're monitoring the YouTube also, or is it
Yes,
only on?
both, sir. Both, sir.
Okay.
YouTube and
Okay.
GBIT.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, my question is SST client population is increasing in Gir. Why establishing a second free ranking population still so important? And what could be the consequences if we continue with only one population?
Now, as I said earlier, you should look at it. I gave you an example of all your eggs in one basket, right? If it's 550, 500, 5,000, if it's all in one basket and the basket falls down, what do you think will happen? It's like that. And I told you also about what happened in the Serengeti Mara ecosystem, 3,000 lions, but they got a disease infection. And in 3 weeks, 1,000 lions died. Now, you can't have that kind of a situation playing out. And also, moreover, now I told you that about 45% of the lions are not even in forest area. I showed you photographs, I showed you videos of the kind of habitat in which these lions are living. And I showed you news report of them attacking people and so on. So all of this means that there is risk. And the translocation is only to reduce the risk, to only uh, ensure that the conservation success is made durable for the next decades, and so that well into the future the lions are well protected. And increasing population is not the only metric, only way of seeing conservation success, because population numbers also, I told you how we didn't have the time to go into the detail, but the way the lion numbers are counted are not very dependable or not very scientific. I'm not saying that the numbers are wrong, but the method that they use to estimate is not very scientific. It's not defendable. But numbers alone don't tell you the full story. Whether it is 900 lions or 400 lions or even 200 lions, the need for second and even potentially a third and a fourth population, which is geographically isolated, given the fact that the lions used to live through such a large part of northern, central, eastern India, there's no reason. If we can bring cheetahs from Africa back to India, why can't we translocate lions? And let's not forget that the Supreme Court has ordered it. So we don't have the luxury of arguing about it anymore. What is the point of a Supreme Court judgment if it is not implemented? Suresh?
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Purnida?
Sir.
Dr. Ravi,
Justice.
yeah, one question. Like, suppose this is only thinking, like government agrees and we shift lions into Kunu, and we know that tiger population in many of the reserves are increasing, and if they're dispersing everywhere. Okay, and also of late, Madhya Pradesh has got quite a few elephants also, which are coming from different parts, like from Chhattisgarh and those areas. How do you think they will coexist if it happens?
The elephants is a lesser of a problem because they're far to the east. Kuno is in northwestern corner. I mean, you've done the survey, northwestern part. So I don't think the elephants is quite an issue. There is potentially an issue with tigers from Ranthambore, but the tigers are always going to be stragglers. You're not going to get dozens of tigers at the same time. It'll be the odd dispersing tiger, if at all. And historically, lions, tigers, leopards, and cheetahs have coexisted in India at the landscape level. Now you're talking of thousands of square kilometers where the denser habitats would have been occupied by tigers, the more open, flatter habitats would have been lion and cheetah territory, and leopards would have gone through all of that. So, uh, and also given the conservation status of the lions, I think in Kuno, the lion will have to be given first priority, and even if a tiger needs to be captured or whatever. But I don't see a problem given time and space. Lions and tigers might just figure out a way to coexist. But elephants, I don't think it's realistic to expect them to come that far to the west in Madhya Pradesh.
Now, why I asked is, like, recently I heard that elephants are moving. It might get into Panna and those areas also. Okay, so
yeah, but Panna is still nearly 1,000 kilometers to the east, I think.
yeah,
Kuno.
but the elephants, elephants how they move. So how do you think they would react? Just
the lions would react to elephants, or elephants react to lions?
Both.
Well, I mean, elephants are used to tigers, so they might look at a lion and look at it like a tiger. I don't know how the lions would react, though,
yes,
because Gir hasn't had wild elephants, and I don't think it's had even domestic elephants for a very, very long time. So it would initially there would be maybe even scared, but they would be curious, and over a period of time they might get used to each other.
Yeah, I think wild animals can adjust each other.
Yeah, they will get used. They will get used.
Yeah, it is we who are afraid. That's it.
Thanks, Justice.
Thank you.
Sir, one question from a YouTuber participant. Dr. Sellam, sir, excellent presentation indeed. What may be the reason for the lions becoming aggressive with humans in recent times?
See, I only have access to newspaper reports. I am not on the ground. It is unusual, but one way of looking at it is, given the frequency of interactions, given the dozens of interactions on a daily basis, the number of negative interactions is actually quite small. The reason I'm saying is, open any newspaper in any city of India, you will find several instances of road accidents of people getting killed, right? That is because of the number of vehicles on the road and so on and so forth. Similarly, in and around Gir, people are encountering lions dozens of times every day. And many of them are poor people living not in concrete structures, in huts, and they're walking around. They might at best have a torchlight and so on, but it's not as if the lions are going after them. So I don't know what is the trigger. There was a phase in 1990, 92, when again there was a spurt of attacks. In about 3 years, there were 120 attacks, which is quite unusual. 21 people died and 7 people were eaten. That time we thought it was a post-drought phenomena, but this is much more random. I truly don't have an answer. This is an area of research that we need to do. But what you have to keep in mind is you can't have hundreds of large cats roaming around in cities and villages and not expect people to get attacked. Some of us behave stupidly. I know of at least a few cases where they've tried to take selfies with the lions, and I don't know what happened. I mean, if you turn a back to a lion, you don't know what the lion is doing, right? There have been cases where they've just walked up and thinking that they can somehow control the animal, and then if a lion attacks, because the lion is large and powerful, all it does need to do is one blow with its paw or one bite. We are gone. So the lion might not even mean to kill you, but that one attack is bad enough. But the straight answer to your question is I really don't know. I'm guessing here.
Thank you, sir. So another question from YouTube participants.
சொல்லுங்க.
Sir, you have a drink and after it, sir. Is not introduction of African cheetah just like introduction alien species to India?
Yes and no, which is why the Supreme Court order, which allowed the experimental introduction of African cheetahs, made it very clear, and it's part of its order, that it is introduction and not reintroduction because these are African cheetahs. But conservation science is very clear because the Asiatic cheetah is only found in Iran and its numbers are very low. If we take any animal out of the Iranian population, you're endangering the wild population of Asiatic cheetah. So it doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, India claiming that bringing African cheetahs will help global cheetah conservation is also on kada only. There is no science behind doing any of that because cheetah needs large areas. We are talking 10, 20,000 square kilometers of habitat. We don't have that. I've written and spoken extensively about this. This is unfortunately an attempt to continue to prevent and stall the translocation of lions to Kuno, because even the cheetah action plan says the lions will settle, I mean, the cheetahs will settle down, it'll take 15 years at least, after which we can plan to bring the lions. But the 2013 order of the Supreme Court was very clear. It said lions need to be translocated in letter and spirit within 6 months. So it is not so much an alien species from a scientific perspective. The closest subspecies can be introduced. That's not a problem. But this whole project is not based on science. It is just trying to, unfortunately, have negative consequences on lion translocation.
Thank you, sir. I have forgotten to mention the name of YouTube participants who have raised the question. One name is Suhas Kumar and another one is Bhuvanti Vedika.
Yes, Shailendra.
Sir, good evening and thanks for the session. I was really moved and I feel that I had got more information. This would be my first time something related to lions or the discussion which I have been participated. Sir, I have a question, but that would be an absurd question or...
No, all questions are good questions.
Maybe I'm not sure you would have covered it because I late joined. I had some other call. Sorry for that. Sir, my one question is, so instead of relocate, when it comes to relocation, why did the government or whatever be the department didn't take up step in expanding the restricted area rather than relocating the lions?
No, expanding, you mean Gir?
Yes.
But if you expand Gir, first of all, there's no forest to expand.
Okay.
There are lakhs of people living in and around that area. But let's assume you had forest, so you expand. But you can't expand it to 35,000 square kilometers, which is the area over which the lions are found now. Number two, even if it is 35,000 square kilometers, let's assume for argument's sake, this
Correct.
35,000 square kilometers only wildlife habitat, there are nobody there, no people there. It is still one population.
Right.
The Serengeti Mara ecosystem is not 35,000 square kilometers, but it has 3,000 lions. The disease came, 1,000 lions died. In our 35,000 square kilometers, we have only 891 lions.
Okay.
I hope I'm making the point clearly.
Yes, sir, I'm clear. Yes, I do understand. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When Mukila? You need to unmute.
Sir, one question from, two questions from Bhavitra. Is there any significant criteria or specification regarding the selection of lion for radio correlate?
Yes. I mean, I needed to find out the area occupied by males, which is why 3 adult males were radio collared. We needed to find out the area occupied by females, which is why 3 adult females were radio collared. And we radio collared subadult males because we needed to understand when a subadult male disperses, what happens. And I, in the introduction, told you we typically look at Gir as Western Gir, which is largely wildlife sanctuary, the national park, the central part of Gir, and Eastern Gir. All 3 of them are slightly different in terms of its topography, ecology, management. So the 3 males, one male was radio collared in Western Gir, one male was radio collared in Central Gir, and one male was radio collared in Eastern Gir. And similarly, one female in each of these areas, and then the subaltern male. So that was because each radio collaring, depending on what your research question is, what is the data you want, you decide on the animals you will radio collar. If I was interested in behavior within a pride or between 2 prides, then the radio collaring would have happened with that single or adjacent prides. But my questions were not related to behavior as much as it was about habitat use, social organization, predation ecology, which is why we did the selection of animals like that. Does that answer your question?
Sir, next question is from Bhavitra.
There's a when Mukila who's put up her hand. Why don't we allow her to? You need to unmute when Mukila. I don't think she's responding. And the Pavitra question. Next question, Chalunga.
Would the radio frequencies from the collar affect the animal?
Answer is no. It's not radioactive.
Venmukila, you want to ask any questions?
Sir, I have regarding Asiatic conservation today.
It's not audible. It's not audible.
Hello, sir. Yeah. What is the major important research gap in Asiatic lions conservation today?
Oh, there are many gaps, and also my studies are 40 years old. So, things change. So when you have endangered species, single populations, we do need to keep an eye on them, monitoring constantly. I don't think any serious work has happened on habitat use, home range size, territoriality, predation ecology recently. But things like disease, things like genetics, all of these are serious questions that need to be asked and answered.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And another one is, how do we differentiate between the lion population increases in a healthy way or it is crosses their habitat carrying capacity?
Purilama, your voice broke.
Okay.
Repeat.
It is audible?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. My question is, how do we differentiate between the lion population is increases in a healthy way or it crosses their habitat carrying capacity?
See, this carrying capacity is unfortunately a word, a term that is quite loosely used. It is an ecological concept not necessarily meant to be applied immediately in wildlife management. Uh, in the sense that we all know India receives monsoon rain. One season can be good monsoon, next season can be poor monsoon. And depending on the monsoon, the vegetation will respond. Depending on how the vegetation responds, uh, your prey population will respond. Depending on how the prey population responds, the carnivore population. And all of this will have lag time. It doesn't happen one after the other immediately. The carrying capacity is an ecological concept to get us to wrap our minds around this, to understand, but not to reduce it to a number. It is not to say Gir can hold 300 lions, but it cannot hold 305 lions. It is incorrect to kind of work it like that. Now, just because a population is exceeding its, within quotes, carrying capacity, supposed carrying capacity, it doesn't mean it's growing unhealthily. Populations do not grow if they don't have resources, right? So I don't understand the connection between the healthy growth of a population and an unhealthy growth of a population. I haven't quite ever seen the term of unhealthy growth of population. I do see often this word carrying capacity being, oh, it's exceeded carrying capacity, all of that. And I don't quite agree. I mean, and we have to blame ourselves as ecologists, because when we teach carrying capacity, I don't think we make the distinction about what is the conceptual value of it and its limitation in being applied in day-to-day management of wildlife. If anybody says this exact number is the carrying capacity, they don't know what they're talking about. Justice, are you still there?
Sir?
No, Justice, my friend Justice, I'm just checking whether he's still there. I would like him to add to this. No, I don't think he's there. Justice, carrying capacity.
See, Ravi, you are told. I also don't believe in these numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Venmukila, purinjada?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, Mr. Ramji?
Sir, one question from Vishnu Shankar.
சார் தமிழில் கேட்கலாமா?
எனக்கு புரிஞ்சா நான் ஆன்சர் பண்ணுறேன்.
ஓகே. இல்லை சார், இப்போ நம்ம டைகர் டூரிசம் வந்து நிறையா இங்கே பாப்புலராக இருக்குது. அந்த மாதிரி லைனுக்கு ஏன் சார் நம்மளுக்கு இங்கே அவ்வளோ பெருசாக வரல? ஏன் பாப்புலேஷன் கம்மியானதுனாலயா?
எங்கே வரல?
இல்லை, பெருசாக மற்ற மீடியாஸில் அந்த மாதிரிலாம்.
ஓ, நீங்க கீருக்கு போறதுக்கு ட்ரை பண்ணுங்க, உங்களுக்கு சஃபாரி புக்கிங் கிடைக்காது.
அப்படியா?
It's a very popular place. We have thousands of tourists going there.
ஓ, பட் டைகர் மாதிரி பாப்புலரா?
டைகர் வந்து ஆல் இந்தியால இருக்குல்ல, 18 ஸ்டேட்ல டைகர் இருக்கு, 20 ஸ்டேட்ல டைகர் இருக்கு. லயன் ஒரே ஸ்டேட்ல தானே இருக்கு.
ஆமா,
அதனால தான்.
அதே மாதிரி ஆப்பிரிக்கன் லைன் மாதிரி நம்ம இது ரொம்ப ஓப்பன் சவானா இல்லாதனால நம்மளுக்கு அவ்வளவு பெருசா ஃபுட்டேஜ் எல்லாம் கிடைக்கிறது இல்லையா?
அப்படியெல்லாம் ஒண்ணும் இல்லையா. There are several good films on lions and I showed you many photographs. I hope you like the quality of the photos.
நான் பார்த்தேன் சார். Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Is there any participant who have any clarification or questions? Okay, sir. Sir, can we conclude, sir? Sir. I invite Mr. Suresh Kumar to give a vote of thanks. Suresh?
Good evening to It's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks on the special occasion of World Lion Day 2026. First of all, I sincerely thanks to our chief guest, Dr. Ravichalam sir, wildlife biologist and conservation scientist, for his valuable and inspiring talk on the remarkable story of the ACS declines. I extend my heartfelt thanks to our president sir, principal sir, for his valuable presence and support. I also thank Lion Ramki Bolaji sir, President Lions Club of Rajapalayam, and all the members of the Lions Club for their support in organizing this program. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Mr. P.R. Ramji sir, Nature Club Coordinator, for his constant guidance and support. And I thank to Miss Amruta Sanjana, Student President, Nature Club, and all the faculty members and students who contributed to the success of this event. Finally, I thank everyone who joined us and made this program meaningful and memorable. Once again, thank you all. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, pa. Bye.
Okay, bye, sir.